Like most people who pick up a guitar and want to learn rock and metal, I got my first electric guitar, plugged it into an amp, turned the distortion all the way up to 11, and started jamming out with power chords. For me, this was all the way back in the late 80s, and I don't know which was bigger, the hair or the ego. Then one day I'm at the record store. Yeah, kids, we had to go and buy records, imagine that. And I see this cool-ass album cover with these super 80s dudes on it, and I just had to hear what the heck it was going to sound like. The album was under lock and key, and that was my introduction to Dokken and George Lynch. The first track opens with a cool acoustic intro, and then the electric kicks in. Well, that ain't no basic power chords. I heard this stuff and needed to learn what this was all about, and from that day forward, the basic power chord writing for me was over. But the cool thing was that it's not much more difficult to play. Like, I didn't have to learn any crazy jazz chords to make some way more interesting guitar rhythms. Today we're gonna do what I always like to do on this channel and figure out how you can use this stuff in your own playing, and welcome to Music with Marky. So what was it that George was doing here that changed the way I play guitar and thus changed my life? Well, you see, he was taking the basic power chord and mangling it up just enough that made things really interesting for me. For the E minor, you have the 7th fret on the A string here, and the 9th fret on the B string. It's your basic E chord. Play a D, you play an A, just the two notes, G. Your basic power chords. But George is moving notes around. In this case, on the D string, he's playing what's called the minor 6th here. Then he's playing the basic power chord. Then he's playing a 4th, and he slides down to a D chord with the 4th. He's changing the second note, if you will, of each chord and moving it around. And so I thought to myself, what can I do with this? How many different chords can I find? Well, you have a minor scale. In this case, it's E minor, and you have 7 notes in the scale. You have the root, then you have the second, in this case it's an F sharp, then the G's, the minor 3rd, then you have the 4th, an A, you have the 5th, minor 6th, the 7th, and then back to the octave. How do I do that as power chords? Well, if we start with that F sharp, that's all the way over here on the 4th fret. We have a bit of a stretch to get the E with that. Then we can go to the 3rd. We can go to that 4th, or bar it, the basic power chord. Then we have the 6th, and then the stretch again for the 7th, and then the octave. So this now leads to all kinds of interesting options. And then when I go to switch chords, I can go to, say, a C. Now, we're in the key of G major. I listed off the notes before, so the patterns aren't always going to look the same, and I have a lesson on this, modes and theory and all that, which I'll link up here. But just quickly for an example in this video, in this case, if we're playing a C, and we want to go to the 4th, it's not that barred note, because that would be an F. It would be an F sharp. So we end up with this. Then maybe we can do the D, and it's 3rd right there, the F sharp again. The 4th. We end up with this cool pattern that's way more interesting than just P, D, C. We have And for me as a rock and metal guitar player, that changed everything and gave me way more options. And that's actually one of several things that I got from George Lynch. I did a whole study on him, the top 5 habits of George Lynch, which I'll link as I roll some outro music here. And as always, guys, until next time, keep making great music.